Before I get into my thoughts on each Fallout game and the thoughts on the show, enjoy a really good story I have about Fallout. Once upon a time, when I was an 11-year-old boy, I was renting Oblivion for the 10th time at Blockbuster. The Blockbuster employee said, "Hey, I noticed you rented this game several times. You need to try Fallout. It's new and it's from the same game creators as Oblivion." So I went to go grab it and there were no copies left on the shelf. The employee had set aside one for him and another copy set aside for his friend. He said, "Well, my friend is going to Afghanistan, so I think you should take this copy, since he can't play." I was skeptical of the game. I never played it. I was still very thankful though. Keep in mind, at the time, you could only rent games for a week. So these were very big decisions as a kid, like it was your only thing you could play for that week. I went home and I was immersed into a world that spoke to me on levels unimaginable. My mother was in jail at the time for going on roughly a year, and I was living with my dad and soon-to-be stepmom. At this point in my life, I was pretty depressed at a young age, and games like Resident Evil and Oblivion helped me to cope when I didn't really have the developmental skills to do so at the time. I played it all night, and even rented it again. So going on week 2 of playing the game, my dad stumbled into my room drunk with an acoustic guitar and a Cat in the Hat top hat that I had from my leftover Halloween costume. He was playing a Counting Crows song poorly, and he accidentally kicked over my Xbox 360 that was standing vertically at the time. It fell over upside down and shredded the disc up to the point it wouldn't launch. I started crying because not only did I not have the game, I had this lunatic for a father and no mom. My dad felt terrible, tried blowing on the disc and wiping it off, still wouldn't work. So he drove to Blockbuster that night drunk, returned the broken copy, saying that that's how we rented it. And he straight up bought me a copy, which was $50 at the time. I thought he was really awesome for that. And now I had a chance to finally binge the game. Now, quickly on to my thoughts about the games before I talk about the series. When I talk about post-apocalyptic atmospheric horror sci-fi, 2 series come to mind: Stalker and Fallout. This will make sense to everyone who has played both. Stalker is not Fallout, and Fallout is not Stalker. If there was a way to combine both somehow, it would be the best game ever made on the planet. And I plan to talk about Stalker sometime in the future, but now is the time to talk about my favorite mythology ever made. I've spent more time on this series than I care to share, and from what I've covered in the mythology, I've still probably only got 65% out of the entire series. So I'm just going to throw away the textbook and give you my experience. Forewarned, I'm going to drop the heat, and you guys are all about to hate me, but it's widely known all Fallout elitists need to touch grass and stop drinking their own pee-pee. So I don't care about what you think. These are my favorite Fallout games, and here are my favorite Fallout DLCs. I've never played the top-down ones. Get over it. They were old, and newsflash, I was 1. But I know the stories are good. I've watched the videos regarding them and the playthroughs, and I would have played them back in the day if I were old enough to. Now, regarding my placement of these lists, they're all very close, but ultimately 4 is my favorite, while modded, for one simple reason. The mods carry the entire game, and when it's crafted well, it's the most fun to me. Does it have the best lore? Hell no. But if I wanted to play games for the lore, I'd be reading Hyperion right now, and not playing games. Does it have the best factions? No. What it does have is building, gun and armor modding, an alright main quest, a great DLC, fire companions, great default graphics, enough to do. I can run it at 120 FPS, and there's finally a reason to hate some of the factions for once instead of getting on your knees for them. What I don't like about it, other than some of the obvious stuff, is how ugly some of the base game guns are. They make no sense. Whoever made the assault rifle was high on bath salts. Every playthrough, I get a mod to replace it. What were they thinking, going from the Gunrunner Arsenal in New Vegas to this bullshit? I do like some of the energy weapons, though. Now, Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. It's just simply too old for me now. I've been there and done every ending 2 times with the DLC, and if I ever load another playthrough, my brain will spontaneously combust. I need to get married before I ever load that game again, or I'll simply feel too ashamed and guilty to stew in my own dung trousers through another playthrough. That being said, the factions, guns, map, characters, side quests, and many little secret intricate goblins make this arguably the best title. For instance, the Gold Pip-Boy and the Deathclaw Promontory, which spawns the Remnant's power armor. There are a million little things like this that are really cool. It does have a good main story, but prepare for an actual stink brawl to break out if you are in a room with other Fallout New Vegas fans and you have a disagreement. I personally choose the Brotherhood of Steel for New Vegas. They have integrity, they have cool technology. Easily second choice would be Boomers because boom and isolationism. My third choice would be the NCR. The ones I wouldn't pick are Caesar's Legion, because why would I want to wear football armor and rub healing sand on my wounds in a society full of slavery and toil, instead of vaporizing my enemies with power armor and a fat man. And Mr. House would probably be dead last because boring. Fallout 3 is where everyone should start. It's the most dated, but it has a ton. Probably the best DLCs, the best start, my favorite city, Rivet City. Another thing is it has like the best sense of horror. It goes light-handed in the haha, we are in the wasteland, so funny rhetoric, and all the people are truly struggling. The Pit DLC and Point Lookout really shows you the horrors. The Slaver faction, there's garbage everywhere. It's easily the most serious Fallout outside of the top-down ones. What ending do I pick? Well, Project Purity, because why would you start a war over poisoning the water? Instead of just pairing your might with the Brotherhood and killing all the super mutants with your combined power. The Enclave just kind of starts a fight for what I think is a stupid reason, but it's still a good story, and the Enclave has some cool armor. Now, on to the series. Go watch it. It's my favorite series ever written. I like it more than Star Wars 3. I like it more than Game of Thrones. If you've never played Fallout, it will still be a 9 out of 10 for you. But if you are a diehard Fallout fan, it will easily be a 10 out of 10. You can go in expecting to hate every bit of it, and you're just going to like it just like I did. We needed something as sci-fi fans, of media fans, of action fans, because they help us cope with some of the tougher elements in life. Which is why we are so insulted when IPs acquired by billionaire companies mess up the stories. They have the power to do so good. Well, they finally did it. They finally did something good. You all know I'm not some dingling, some cockazoid that would just say that. You've watched my 4-second reviews. You've watched what I say about Star Wars, which I love. And I'll tell you straight up, don't let some Carl's Jr. munching triple chin beluga whale morph your opinion. They are wrong. It's good to form your own opinions. Go and form your own opinions. I promise you will like the series. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. You have 4 seconds until spoilers. 3, 2, 1. So, I don't know what my favorite part is. I think the scene where Goggins the Ghoul shows up to the NCR, like the NCR wearing bullet farmer's house, to like threaten to extract the information. That was a great scene. I love the voice actor for Codsworth. I like that scene when they're at the party and we see him talking. That was kind of good. Outside of the absolute fan service we get for seeing New Vegas and the Death's Claw Skull. I love the Fiend scene. I love the Yaogoi scene and the Philly shootout. I mean, there's just so much to take away from this series that we finally, I think, like, they went to the lab at Bethesda and they're like, okay, we've taken like 7 consecutive L's with all the projects we've done with Redfall, with Starfield, and, you know, Fallout 76. You know, we need a W. And Todd Howard was like, you know what? This has to be a W. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody does. It's W or bust. And they did it. They did it. They actually did it. And we actually have something, finally, that we can watch and look forward to. It's better than The Last of Us. It's better than Twisted Metal, which I liked. But in this one, there isn't a strawberry scene where two men are on top of each other, and it's instead of Twisted Metal, it's Fallout. You know, I mean, it's just good. It's everything. Everything really came together. They packed pretty much everything. What I did poke holes in some of the things. So, in one thing, ready? When the raiders from Vault 32, or being like disguising themselves as Vault 32, arrived, why didn't the radiation detector go off on all their pit boys? It's a little hole. It's a little thing that I can criticize, because like she takes it and then points it at the guy and is like, "You're a raider," when she finds out, you know, that like the way that the Pip-Boy rad detector works in the games is it goes off. You know, it tells you. So like as soon as they showed up in the room, shouldn't all of their Pip-Boys gone off? You know? I don't know. That was one hole. Another hole is when they're going to the organ harvesters or the slavers, whatever. And Coggins the Ghoul donates Lucy to the jet addict or whatever, chem addict slavers. Why are they just keeping ghouls in the tanks? Like that seems so stupid. Like if somebody can explain that part to me, I'd be a lot happier. But like, what's the reason that they have feral ghouls? What's the reason that if they're going to harvest people's organs, why they would even be in those chambers? Like, I mean, Lucy went straight to the harvesting table. Why wouldn't anybody's be in the harvesting table? Maybe they explained that. Maybe I glossed over that. Another thing. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty much my two big ones. I don't know. I would say in that scene where he tells the squire, like, "Hey, I'm actually a Maximus." Why did he try to punch him? Why didn't he just shoot him? Did he not have his gun on him? I don't know. That's another kind of like dumb part for me personally. Now, those are all really little things in comparison to how much enjoyment I got out of this. Like, I was saying, like, man, they can ruin the ending to this, and I still would have had a fun ride. Like, and the ending was great. The ending was, like, phenomenal. Everything was just so well done. The attention to detail on the sets, the actors, the storyline itself. Now, I think some people that have played every single game and have, like, you know, they have the terminal logs tattooed on their bodies that are so obsessed with every little thing. They might be a little upset when something is retconned, but mildly retconned. Like, the way ghouls work. You know what I mean? That has actually changed from game to game. Like, they're kind of inconsistent on certain things. And I feel like the series laid it in stone. It didn't change too much. It didn't, you know, like, for instance, they said that ghouls can survive without food and water for a really long time. And Goggins did. He was buried under the earth and then comes up. But then he starts eating a little bit. I don't know if that gives him strength or, you know, he ate that one other ghoul. That was cool. That was cool. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to freeball this part and discuss it with all of you. See what your thoughts are. Yeah. Yeah.